Do you wish you could buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max right now, but you think it's too expensive or you don't have the money to do so? Then, of course, I have a solution for you. I think you should buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Yes, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, in my opinion, is an awesome phone. And I think that in 2023, it just makes sense to talk about it because still, in my opinion, it's one of the best phones available for you to buy. It's cheaper than it was when it was launched, and it's still really, really good. So, I'm Tech Sumer, guys. Drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel if it's the first time watching my channel. I'm an Apple-focused tech reviewer, but I also review other things like electric cars and Android phones. So if you are excited, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching. Roll the intro. So, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, in my opinion, is the perfect budget option for the iPhone 15s. Yes, if you don't have the money to buy the iPhone 15 Pro Max, I do believe that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is a great value option. But with one caveat, and this one might be a big deal breaker for you, or you might not even care about it. And that's USB-C. The iPhone 13 Pro Max does not feature USB-C, it features Lightning. And this might be one of the biggest deal breakers in history for you not to buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and that's why I'm telling you in the beginning of this video, if you don't want a Lightning iPhone, if you don't really care about Lightning, you just want USB-C on your phone, then I don't think you should buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max because the port is outdated and I think that USB-C is total the future. So Lightning is going to die in the next few years, but I do believe it has still a place in 2023 and in the next 2-3 years. So if you don't really care about USB-C, then keep watching. If you do really care about USB-C, then I guess that if the iPhone 15 Pro Max is too expensive for your wallet, go for the iPhone 15 or wait for the iPhone SE4, rumored to come out next year. So, other than that, I do believe that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is really future-proof in other things. The camera, the display, the design, they are all still one of the best in 2023. Let's talk about it. The design of the iPhone 15 Pro Max and the 13 Pro Max are really, really close. Like, this one has the rough, very sharp edges, the same design as the iPhone 14 Pro Max, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max features the design of the new iPhones. This is the new iPhone 15 design together with the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro and now the 15 Pro Max. They feature the same rounded off design with the contoured edges, just like Apple likes to call it. This is, in my opinion, more comfortable and easier to hold, and I think it feels more premium. Again, this is a matter of choice and it's super subjective. So if you prefer this premium feel, and if you do prefer the sharper edges, the 15 Pro Max will be worse than the 13 Pro Max, but if you do prefer the more comfortable feel, then the 15 Pro Max will be better. This is really subjective, but the one thing that I want you to take out of this design look is that they both look really similar. So if you buy the 13 Pro Max in 2023, you will still feel like you have a new phone, you will feel the status symbol of the iPhone. Still, this won't look outdated, at least for the next 2 years or 3. So believe when I tell you that the iPhone 13 Pro Max is still really, really up to date with the design, the cameras, the display, because, again, the display is still one of the best on the market. This still has a 120Hz ProMotion panel, while the 15 Pro Max still has a 120Hz ProMotion panel. These two displays are really similar. The only differences between the 13 Pro Max and the 15 Pro Max are really dynamic island and the extra brightness. So, yeah, the 13 Pro Max has a little bit worse display than the 14 Pro Max, which has the same display as the 15 Pro Max, and so the 13 Pro Max features 120Hz, and that's the biggest deal about this display. I do believe that in 2023, 120Hz is almost essential for most people. This makes your phone feel faster, smoother, and more responsive. And so, the 13 Pro Max, it's the first iPhone to get it, and in my opinion, it's still one of the best on the market. Again, this is still an OLED display with 6.7 inches, still has 1600 nits of peak brightness, 120Hz, so you won't feel like you have an outdated display. This will still feel like a perfect OLED display from 2023, the same as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and most people won't be able to distinguish between this OLED display and the 15 Pro Max's display. So, at the end of the day, that's a huge win, because you are saving so much money by going to buy the 13 Pro Max. You can find this phone right now for $700, and that's really cheap if you compare that to 15 Pro Max costs you $1,200. Again, really expensive. Although the 15 Pro Max now comes with 256 and the 13 Pro Max started at 128. So that's something you gotta weigh out. If you need more storage, it will be a bit more expensive, but still, I would say that the 256 model will cost you to $750 to $800, still a great option $400 for most people might not justify the upgrade because again, the only differences from the 15 to the 13 are really dynamic island, titanium, USB-C, and of course the cameras. If you don't really value your cameras that much or use your phone for professional work, and USB-C is not bothersome because I do believe that's the biggest deal breaker here, the 13 Pro Max in my opinion is a great deal for the price. And if you don't have the money to buy the 15 Pro Max, skip the 14, go straight to the 13. I know it sounds weird, but the differences between the 13 and the 14 are really small, and I don't think that Dynamic Island justifies the extra $150 to $200 you will pay for that phone. So I do believe that the 13 Pro Max is an amazing value. And again, not just because of the design and the display. No, because this phone in 2023 still feels extra premium, and in my opinion one of the best feeling phones. Just because of Apple's choices of materials, because they chose to use stainless steel, the matte glass. This phone ages really well, feels like new in 2023. Unlike other Android phones that as soon as you use it for like 1 month, it starts to feel old and not premium enough, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, after 2 years of its launch, still feels brand new and incredible. That's the job of the stainless steel and the incredible matte glass back. This phone feels heavy, feels premium, and it's super good to hold because, again, really premium because of the stainless steel. This was a $1,000 phone when you bought it, but it still feels like $1,000 2 years later. While some Android phones and some aluminum iPhones, after 1 year, they get a bit roughed up, they get a bit of scratches, and they stop feeling like new, and you start feeling like it's a $300 to $400 phone. This stainless steel phone will never feel that way. This will always feel extremely premium just because of the extremely premium materials that Apple chose to use. But those premium materials came at a cost: the weight. The iPhone 13 Pro Max is one of the heaviest iPhones ever made, only topped up by the iPhone 14 Pro Max. This is truly heavy, weighs around 250 grams, while the iPhone 15 Pro Max weighs around at 236 grams. Which might not sound like a huge difference, but because of the weight distribution and the new titanium/aluminum plate found on the 15 Pro Max, that phone feels much lighter and, in my opinion, better in the hand. While this one feels extremely premium, but can get some tiresome because of the extra weight and the sharp edges. So in terms of feeling, I do believe that this phone still is extremely premium, and the $800, it's worth more than that. As for the cameras, this iPhone still features a triple camera system, the same triple camera system found on the 15 Pro Max, and so you might be thinking, why should I upgrade if they are both a triple camera system? Well, simple. The 15 Pro Max has a 48 megapixel sensor, then has a 5x telephoto and a better ultrawide. These are the only and main differences between these two triple camera systems. The 15 Pro Max features the last generation of the 12 megapixel main camera, while the 15 Pro Max features the 48 megapixel main camera. These differences are noticed when you're actually taking photos, because the photos on the 15 Pro Max are much sharper. And then of course, the 15 Pro Max can take 24 megapixels main photos, normal photos, while the 13 Pro Max only takes 12s. But all of this spec talk for saying that the 13 Pro Max still takes amazing pictures for social media, amazing videos for Instagram stories, no worries about that. You will have amazing photos, amazing videos. There's no problem buying the 13 Pro Max if you really care about photo and video. Only if you are a YouTuber or use your phone for professional work is that you should buy the 15 Pro Max. There's no need for you to upgrade if you have the 13 Pro Max or the 15 Pro Max if you don't really care about cameras. And if you do like cameras a lot and use your phone to take amazing photos and video, maybe I would recommend upgrading. Other than that, USB-C might be the biggest factor if you take a lot of video for transferring from your iPhone to your computer, especially if you like to take ProRes video, because the iPhone 13 Pro Max only has Lightning, and this takes a lot of time to transfer the footage from the 13 Pro Max to the 15 Pro Max. But I do think that the biggest factor that I say in favor of the 13 Pro Max is that this year, when I sold my iPhone 14 Pro Max for buying the 15 Pro Max, I was 1 week without a phone, and I had to do something. And so I picked up my 13 Pro Max, put my SIM on this 13 Pro Max, and used it for 1 week. 1 whole week, while I was waiting for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Or was it more? 1 week and a half. I don't remember. And during this 1 week and a half, I have totally forgotten that I was switched between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and the 13 Pro Max. And so I forgot. And what happens was, oh my God, I had a newer phone, I switched to an older phone, and I totally forgot. So the differences between the iPhone 14 Pro Max and 13 Pro Max were actually really small. And then when I switched back to the 15 Pro Max, the main differences that I noticed were actually the camera. not more. Yeah, the design was better, titanium was lighter, the phone was a bit smoother, but still worked 85 to 90% the same. And spending an extra $500 on top of that, for most people, I think buying the iPhone 13 Pro Max in 2023 is still their best option. You will save tons of money, you will get an amazing phone that takes incredible pictures, incredible video. No, it doesn't have action mode for video. No, it doesn't have 4K cinematic mode. But it still has cinematic mode. It doesn't shoot log, so that might be kind of a bummer. But again, cinematic mode at 4K, 30 frames per second, ProRes log, action mode. Those are pro features that people looking to buy the iPhone 13 Pro Max in 2023 don't really care about. So I don't think it's worth it to talk about my review, at least my recommendations video. At least I do believe that the iPhone 13 Pro Max in 2023 still features a very capable camera that I think justifies the price that you are paying for it. So if you are looking for a really budget professional phone, so if you still have like $800 to spend and you don't really care about USB-C, then the iPhone 13 Pro Max is an amazing option. This was the best battery ever on a phone, in my opinion. Like when it was new, when it had 100% of battery life, the best. Better than the 15 Pro Max, better than the 14 Pro Max. No phone has ever matched this battery life. Really good. And now in 2023, after like 2 years of use, continuous use, it has about 85 to 80% of battery health. This phone still lasts me the whole day. So I think that's a proof that this battery life is really good. As for the chip, this chip is the A15, and the A15 was a good chip. It was not bad. I think it's still really fast. You cannot play AAA games. Those are only reserved for the A17 Pro iPhones, but I do believe it's a great chip. You won't feel that it's slow. Social media, using YouTube, watching videos, Twitter, playing App Store games, no issues there. The phone, super responsive, 120 Hz, makes sure that the phone does not lag down. And at the end of the day, I think that it still feels like a $1,000 phone. And that's the beauty of buying iPhones, used, refurbished, or using them after 2 years. This phone is 2 years old, but it still feels like a $1,000 iPhone. While an Android phone that you bought 2 years ago, today, that would suck completely. The experience would be totally different, the phone would be slower, crankier, less upgrades. I think that buying an iPhone, especially an older iPhone, is still a great option. And especially the 13 Pro Max with 120 Hz might be an amazing value option for you. Looking to buy an incredible iPhone, your first iPhone, or simply trying to upgrade from an older iPhone and you don't have the budget to upgrade to the newest and shiniest phone. So you don't need to upgrade always to the newest and shiniest, just upgrade for the best value one. And in 2023, after the iPhone 15 Pro Max came out, I do believe that the best value iPhone currently is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Do you like the iPhone 13 Pro Max in 2023? Do you have one? Have you ever used the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Let me know all of that in the comments down below. Of course, while you're there, drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel, follow my social networks, Twitter and Instagram. Bye-bye.